Hey everyone, you might be wondering, why is Joel Baumgar giving away thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars of free Bitcoin to basically anybody on Facebook who's willing to accept it? Well, the answer is because I care so much about truth and justice. Now, how is there a connection between truth and justice and giving away a ton of Bitcoin for free? Well, I just posted a video about why Christians should care about Bitcoin, why God cares about truth and justice, and why Bitcoin is a more just, equitable, fair financial system, monetary system. And so I care deeply about that. I care deeply about the truth and justice behind the world that God gave us to live in, and ushering in a new financial system that does not have all the corruption of the old financial system that is based on fiat currency, meaning government-made-up currency. Well, in order to usher in a new financial system, people have to care. They have to wake up. They have to understand what is possible with a new financial system. And the easiest way to do that is to give people some Bitcoin. In the very early days, for the first year or two of Bitcoin's existence, there was something called the Bitcoin faucet, where anybody could go to a website and do a CAPTCHA, like the little thing that makes sure you're not a scammer or that you're not a bot. You fill out a CAPTCHA and you would get 5 free Bitcoin. This ran for a long time, for many, many, many months in the very early days of Bitcoin. Anybody, you hit the website, you fill out the little CAPTCHA thing, and boom, it would send 5 Bitcoin, $500,000 right now of Bitcoin to anyone, anywhere in the world for free. Now, I can't afford to give everybody 5 Bitcoin. I would not have any more Bitcoin. But what I can do is I can give people $30 or $50 or $100 of Bitcoin, which back then it was the same thing. The reason you could get 5 Bitcoin is because 5 Bitcoin was worth like 5 cents or 50 cents, or it was worth such a small amount of money that, you know, the people who were funding the Bitcoin faucet were willing to fund it just to get Bitcoin out there, to get people to care. So all I'm doing is exactly what the Bitcoin faucet did in the early days, except I'm giving away, you know, tiny fractions of a Bitcoin, 1/1000th of a Bitcoin, $100 versus $100,000. But it's the same concept, is the world is full of an unjust financial system where a small number of fat cats print money out of thin air, and they dilute the hard-earned money of the rest of us, and they get away with it. And the only solution to that is Bitcoin. And the way people care about Bitcoin is owning some. As soon as people own Bitcoin, they start to think, now I own some Bitcoin. Maybe I should figure out what it is. Maybe I'm not actually late to Bitcoin. Maybe I should figure out why Bitcoin is better than all of the other cryptocurrencies out there that are not Bitcoin. And it's not unlike, for example, I give free rides in my 2026 Tesla Model Y to anyone who wants to experience a self-driving car. Because when you sit in a car and it just drives you around completely autonomously, it's sort of an eye-opening experience. It's like, wow, cars can actually drive you with no human interaction. Like, that's pretty wild. And it's hard to believe that exists, and it's hard to believe how transformational it is until you experience it for yourself. So anybody who wants a free ride in a Tesla, as long as I know you, as long as we've met in real life, we have a personal connection, personal relationship. I do not offer free rides to random people on the internet. But if you and I know each other in any sort of connection, happy to give you a free ride in a Tesla and show you what full self-driving is like. It's similar to the early days, again, back to why I give away free Bitcoin. It's similar to the early days of the internet, when people were like, why do I need email? It's like, because you can send an email to anyone in the world. And they're like, yeah, but I'll just use the postal service. Maybe if I ignore email long enough, maybe it will just go away. Maybe it's this new technology that I don't have to engage, that I don't have to embrace, that I can keep my brain turned off and just hope that we all go back to just sending facsimiles, the old fax machine, or the old letters. And the truth is, no, email is going to be the future, and it is, and it was. And the easiest way you can do that is just letting someone send an email and say, look, I know this whole email concept sounds scary and it sounds new, and you kind of don't understand how a message could just like cross the internet. But here, sign up for an email account. Back then in the days of Yahoo and Hotmail and AOL, sign up and just send one. And then they send one and they're like, that's a big deal. I just sent a message to someone on the other side of the world and it was delivered instantly. That's a big deal. Well, it's hard to understand how big a deal email is if you've never sent an email. It's hard to understand how big a deal Bitcoin is if you don't own any Bitcoin. It's hard to understand how transformational self-driving cars are if you've never been in a car that self-drove and self-parked and did all of that for you with no human interaction whatsoever. It's the same with AI. Everybody I run into, I inevitably encourage them, if they've never used ChatGPT or Grok, which is the new AI engine from Elon Musk. If they've never used AI, I always encourage them to. I'm like, look, just think of something crazy and plug it into AI. ChatGPT, download the little app on your phone, or download the Grok app, which they just came out with Grok version 4.0 yesterday. Just download it on your phone and ask it something crazy. And when you get an answer, it's like, wow, that's wild. Or you ask it to make up a picture. You upload a picture of yourself and say, hey, make a picture of me flying in a squirrel suit over the Andes Mountains or something like that. And then it makes a picture out of scratch that looks real. And it's like, wow, that's super powerful. That's incredible. So the reason I give away huge amounts of Bitcoin for free is because we need to usher in this new financial system that is more fair, that is more just, that is consistent with the principles of justice and truth that I care so much about, that I believe God cares so much about. And it's just hard to get anybody to care if they don't own any Bitcoin. So what's the easiest way for people to care? Give them some free Bitcoin. Once people have Bitcoin, they start paying attention. They start asking, why does the price go up and down? And they start understanding how supply and demand interact. And they start understanding why Bitcoin is different than any other cryptocurrency. And they start wondering, who is Satoshi Nakamoto, the inventor of Bitcoin, the not mysterious, but anonymous character. We don't know who that is. So the easiest way to get someone to care about something new that is completely transformative, that will change their life, is for them to have some or to use some. And it doesn't matter if you're trying to get somebody to understand email for the first time, self-driving cars for the first time, AI for the first time, or back in the horse and buggy. Everybody who was riding around in a horse and buggy, when someone showed them an automobile for the first time, the easiest thing to do was to say, I'll pass. I don't want to take a ride. This thing is scary. There's not even a horse in front of it. And that's what most people did. Most people were like, this whole automobile thing, it's got an engine. It makes a noise. I don't understand how the engine works. I don't understand how the car is moving without a horse pulling it. I'll just pass. I'll sit on the sidelines. Maybe this whole automobile thing will go away. Well, the best thing you could do if you owned an automobile in the early days is give people rides in it. Show them how incredible it is that you can turn the key and then it just goes. And you don't have to get the horses ready, and you don't have to feed the horses, and you don't have to water the horses. You don't have to rub down the horses after, and the automobile doesn't get tired. You just put more gas in it and it keeps going. People don't understand that unless they experience it. So the reason I give away thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars of free Bitcoin is because I want people to care. I want them to understand the transformational nature of Bitcoin. And the easiest way to onboard people to Bitcoin is to give them some free Bitcoin. I believe Bitcoin will change the world. I believe it will usher in a new age of truth and justice, at least in our monetary system. And if we have truth and justice in our monetary system, it brings truth and justice to so many other aspects of the world we live in. And that's the future I want for myself, for my kids, for my family, for my wife, for you. And that's the future I want for all of us. And because we're so early in the adoption cycle of Bitcoin, the early adopters benefit from the price increase of Bitcoin, which means you get a 2-for-1. You get sound money and price appreciation for the first multiple decades of Bitcoin's adoption cycle. And we are still very early in that adoption cycle. So that's why I give away free Bitcoin. I want a better world. The fastest way to a better world is for people to adopt technologies that make the world a better place. And the fastest way for people to care about those new technologies, to understand those new technologies, is to use some or have some. And so that's why I give away a ton of free Bitcoin. Have a great day, everyone.